My name is Mary, and I work as a project coordinator at a busy marketing agency in downtown Chicago. Each morning, I walk into the brightly lit office filled with the sounds of laughter and ringing phones. I used to feel excited coming here. The energy and creativity in the room inspired me. But lately, I've been feeling uneasy. I've noticed that my ideas often seem to vanish, only to reappear as someone else's. This workplace has become a bit like a maze, where it's hard to find my way. I can sense a challenge is looming, and I'm determined to figure out how to navigate it. As the days passed, my excitement about working at the marketing agency began to fade. Just last week, I had worked late on a project that meant a lot to me. I had created a fresh idea for a new campaign and felt proud of my work. But when I presented it to my manager, Josh, I felt a knot forming in my stomach. I watched as he listened intently, but then he turned to Mark, one of my coworkers, and said, "I think we should go with your idea instead." My heart sank. I didn't understand. My idea had been unique, filled with creativity. Yet here I was, watching my hard work slip away, all without a word of acknowledgement. I felt small and invisible. The office, previously full of hope, now felt like a tight space closing in around me. I tried to talk to Josh later, hoping he could explain. I went into his office, my palms sweaty and my heart racing. "Josh," I started, my voice shaky. "I was really excited about my campaign idea. Can you share why we didn't choose it?" He looked up, his face surprised. "Oh, I thought you wanted feedback first before moving ahead. We have a lot going on, you know?" My shoulders slumped. It felt like a dismissal. I had meant for him to recognize my work, yet I only received indifference. That moment began to haunt me. I found myself questioning my skills and decisions. Was I too shy to speak up? Maybe my ideas really weren't good enough. I began to overthink everything I did. It was exhausting. The following weeks, I noticed Mark and a few others presented their ideas confidently while I sat back in silence, the fear of rejection holding me down. During team meetings, my heart would race as I listened to them discuss their plans, thoughts racing in my mind. Yet every time I tried to speak, my voice felt stuck in my throat. I could hear whispers of "that's a great idea" whenever Mark spoke, while I felt only the echoes of my own doubts. I should have been sharing my thoughts, but fear had built a wall between me and the conversation. Each missed opportunity made my anxiety grow, leaving me feeling boxed in my own thoughts. One day, a customer called in with questions about our new campaign. "I heard about this new idea you all have," the voice on the line said. "It's different and I love it. Can you tell me more about it?" I took a deep breath, hoping this was my chance to step forward. I opened my mouth, but nothing came out initially. I could hear my coworkers chiming in with excitement, but I felt stuck in my seat. Finally, one of them jumped in and explained my idea as if it belonged to him. I winced as words spilled out that were meant to be mine. "That's exactly right. Great explanation," he said, smiling. I sat there feeling exposed and helpless, wishing I could reach out to explain it myself. All my hard work was being taken over, and I felt a deep sadness pooling in my chest. It hurt not to be recognized, but more importantly, it hurt not to share my thoughts. In all this, I realized I had to confront my fears. I needed to stop letting my doubts hold me hostage. Few things could be more challenging than standing up for oneself, but I was tired of feeling defeated. As I finished my day at the office, a flicker of strength began to ignite within me. It felt like a small spark, but I hoped it would grow. The following week brought even more pressure. Our team was tasked with launching the new campaign in just 10 days. I could feel the tension grow with each passing day, especially since there was a sense of urgency in the air. In the morning meetings, it seemed like everyone was on edge, hovering over their laptops, frantically trying to meet deadlines and justify their ideas. As the days melted into one another, it felt like I was sinking deeper into a pit of uncertainty. Mark seemed even more vocal and confident, throwing around ideas like they were candy. I sat there, feeling like a ghost, my vision blurring as I listened to him present ideas that echoed mine but were not quite the same. I could sense Josh nodding approvingly, repeating Mark's suggestions and giving no thought to what I had contributed. The stressful atmosphere compounded my anxious feelings. One afternoon, I was alone in the break room, desperately trying to catch my breath when I overheard a conversation between Josh and Mark. They discussed the campaign while planning a presentation for the managers. "This idea is fantastic. It will steal the show," Josh said. I couldn't help but feel a knot tightening in my stomach. Was this really happening? Were they talking about my idea without me? The feeling of betrayal hit deeply. My vision suddenly darkened as emotions swirled inside me. Anger, frustration, and a sinking sadness. The deadline loomed closer, and with it came a wave of stress rolling over me. I struggled to craft a personal touch for the presentation, realizing I felt excluded from the very campaign I'd envisioned. During meetings, every attempt to contribute was drowned out by louder voices, including my own self-doubts resonating in my head, telling me I didn't belong there. My shoulders dropped with the weight of it all. As the pressure grew, I could feel the stress pushing down on me like a heavy blanket. My mind raced with questions. What if I didn't finish my sections on time? What if my ideas were tossed aside again? Could I stand up for myself? I began to daydream of better days, imagining a scenario where I had the courage to share my thoughts openly. Yet in reality, I felt pinned down. The night before our big presentation, I wished I could hide under my covers and avoid it altogether. Instead, I sat in front of my computer, but the blinking cursor felt intimidating. My fingers hovered over the keyboard, but every time I tried to write, my breath quickened. When I finally managed to jot down a few sentences, an unexpected email popped up from Josh. He praised Mark for his hard work on the campaign, and it stung like a slap to my face. Confidence swelled in Mark, while I felt my self-worth crumbling behind a wall of silence. I finally slammed my laptop shut and sat in dark silence. In that quiet moment, something shifted within me. I felt anger, yes, but more importantly, it was a call to action. I couldn't sit back and continue letting my creativity go unrecognized. I pictured myself standing up, speaking clearly, and advocating for my ideas. If I didn't take a stand now, I might forever feel like a shadow in my own story. The realization settled in like a weight I had been carrying was lifted. I knew I had to change. I could not shy away from opportunities to express myself anymore. Tomorrow would be different. I would find a way to take charge of my narrative, remind myself of the value of my work, and assert my voice. The journey ahead wouldn't be easy, but I finally understood what I needed to do. With newfound determination, I felt ready to face whatever came next. The day of the presentation finally arrived, and as I stepped into the office, the tension felt almost tangible. My heart beat loudly in my chest as I spotted Josh, Mark, and the rest of the team gathered in the conference room. A sea of faces smiled expectantly, and the room buzzed with conversations filled with excitement and anticipation. But all I felt was dread. Everyone seemed so confident, and I struggled to keep my head straight as we waited for our turn on stage. The last-minute rehearsals had left me feeling anxious. My fingers fiddled with the edges of my notepad, and I swallowed hard. Would my cowardice jump out just when it mattered most? This was my moment, the chance to stand up and speak out, yet I couldn't push the cold fear away. As Mark began presenting his portion of the campaign, I could feel the walls closing in. Each word flowed smoothly from his mouth, and each nodlings from Josh further eroded my confidence. I glanced at my slides, feeling like they were laughing at me. Would my ideas transform into whispers in the crowd? All I wanted was to slam my fist on the table and shout, "This is mine!" But I remained frozen in my seat. Finally, Mark wrapped up his segment and turned to me. "Now Mary will explain her ideas," he said with a confident smile. As he gestured toward me, my heart crashed and climbed at the same time. This was it. The moment everything bottled inside me would erupt. I could see curious faces staring straight at me, neatly arranged and waiting. But I felt the overwhelming tide of fear rise within me. I stood slowly, pushing myself up as emotions swirled in my chest. My palms were clammy, and my words threatened to slip away like sand through my fingers. As I approached the front, the familiar terrain of anxiety began to envelop me. My throat felt dry, but I forced myself to breathe deeply. I had come too far to turn back now. As I reached the view screen, I glanced at my slides, taking in every detail and remembering the hours I had poured into this project. This was not just some little idea. It was a reflection of my creativity and belief. I took a moment to survey the room, blocking Mark and Josh from view. The others were nodding with anticipation, waiting for me to begin. "Thank you, everyone," I began, my voice unsteady but earnest. I felt the nervous energy flow through me as I faced the audience of my coworkers and managers. "Today, I want to share with you my vision for the campaign." As I spoke, I noticed the way the air shifted, a welcomed calm settling around me. My thoughts flowed as I explained each point, highlighting the hard work I had put into crafting the details of the campaign. I emphasized how each element was specifically designed to capture attention and spark interest. The words once trapped inside me finally flew out, wrapping around the audience like a warm embrace. With each phrase, I felt the burden of doubt lifting, replaced by an exhilarating sense of empowerment. I could see Josh taking notes, and even glancing up at me as I continued. With every second passing, my confidence began to build like a fortress surrounding me. And it's not just about selling a product, I stated with newfound conviction. It's about connecting with our audience, showing them we understand their needs. When I finished, a ripple of applause swept through the room. My fear didn't disappear completely, but for the first time it felt manageable. I had stopped holding my breath and stepped into my own light. I took one more look at my coworkers, their expressions a blend of surprise and admiration. In that moment, I knew I had taken a critical step. I had confronted my fear, and I felt lighter and stronger. I didn't just participate, I took ownership. Taking this stand had changed everything, and I had crossed an invisible barrier that separated me from believing in my worth. As the applause echoed in the conference room, I felt a rush of exhilaration wash over me. My heart raced with joy, and a wild sense of pride filled the air around me. The applause was more than just claps. It was a recognition of my effort and creativity. I couldn't believe I had stood up and shared my vision so clearly. An incredible sense of relief washed over me like a deep, calming wave. Josh stood, a surprised smile on his face. "Great job, Mary. That was impressive," he said, nodding as he ran his hand through his hair. I felt warmth spread through me at his acknowledgement. My heart fluttered with a mixture of happiness and shock. This was recognition I had longed for, and it had finally arrived after so many moments of feeling invisible. As discussions began around my ideas, I could see Mark's expression shift. He looked taken aback for a moment, his confident smile faltering as he processed what I had just shared. I noticed him glancing at my slides, mouthing the words silently as if they were completely new to him. Suddenly, the breeze of validation began to blow through the room, and I found myself standing a bit taller. My mind shifted from doubt to wonder. I hadn't expected such immediate respect. When it was time for questions, several colleagues deferred to me with inquiries into the details of my campaign. "How did you come up with that angle?" one coworker asked enthusiastically, clearly intrigued by my approach. This was new territory for me. Previously, I would have shrunk back, feeling the fear of not being able to respond adequately. But now I welcomed the engagement. I observed trends in our target audience's preferences and created ideas that speak to their needs, I replied, my voice steady and clear. I could hear the confidence threading through my tone, reminding me of the value I added to our team. As more questions came flowing in, I felt a wave of reassurance. This was my moment and I was handling it beautifully. Each response made me realize my voice mattered. I felt as if I were exploring uncharted lands, conquering the fears that held me back. Josh chimed in, praising my commitment. "Mary's insights will be essential to our success," he added. And with that acknowledgement, I couldn't help but smile. The burden of uncertainty melted away, replaced by a flicker of pride and purpose. My emotions swelled with gratitude as I became aware of the respect I had earned, fueled by my determination to speak up. A surprising coolness now filled the air, merging with the buzz of excitement and energy in the room. But with this new appreciation came a lingering thought. I had almost missed my chance. I saw my past insecurities flash before my eyes like half-forgotten memories. Had I almost allowed fear to dictate my worth at the agency? Just days ago, I stood at the edge of despair, quiet and unsure. Now, as I accepted the congratulations and engaged in the discussions, I realized I had come to understand an essential part of myself. I learned the value of articulating my ideas and showing up in my space. Mark, despite the initial shock, came over to congratulate me. "You really knocked it out of the park, Mary. I had no idea you had such strong ideas," he admitted, extending his hand with genuine warmth. I responded with a grateful smile, realizing that once conflict felt like an opening for shared growth. I could feel the shift in our relationship, a newfound respect weaving between us. In that moment, I understood something critical. I was not only capable of contributing valuable ideas, but now I felt the power to forge connections and spark collaboration. The tension that had weighed on me had transformed into a deep-seated strength. As I left the meeting room, excitement buzzed in my veins. It was more than a successful presentation. It was a huge step toward roaring with confidence in my own narrative, standing tall and proud for my insights and worth. The future felt brighter, and I welcomed the challenges ahead, ready to explore this newfound belief in myself. After the buzz of the presentation faded, I found a quiet corner in the office to gather my thoughts. My heart was still racing from the rush of sharing my ideas, but my mind was busy processing everything that had happened. I replayed every moment in my mind, feeling both disbelief and excitement. This was a turning point in my career, and I wanted to grasp what I had learned. I sat down with a cup of hot tea, letting the warmth spread through me. Just then, Emily, a friendly coworker who had been an encouraging presence during my journey, approached. "I saw your presentation. You were incredible, Mary," she said, her eyes bright with enthusiasm. I felt a blush creeping up my cheeks. "Thank you, Emily. Feels surreal. I still can't believe I spoke up like that," I admitted with a nervous chuckle. Emily took a seat across from me, leaning in as if to share a secret. "I've seen you struggle with your voice in meetings," she said gently. "What changed for you today?" As I reflected on her question, I thought about how I had felt lost and small for so long. I realized that my ideas had value. I finally decided to stop letting fear control me. I responded, my voice rising with newfound conviction. "Oh, that's amazing," Emily beamed. "It takes real courage to share your thoughts, especially when doubt creeps in." As we talked, I began to see the depth of my experience. I had spent months feeling overlooked and anxious, but in that brief moment on stage, something shifted inside me. I was no longer bound by insecurity. Instead, I embraced my capability to contribute meaningfully. "I think I always waited for others to validate my ideas," I said, noticing how this simple realization struck me. It had been a pattern I never acknowledged until now. I thought if someone else shared a similar idea, it meant I wasn't worthy of support. Emily nodded thoughtfully. "It's so easy to fall into that mindset, but today you showed that your voice matters. Your thoughts are just as important as anyone else's." As we continued to chat, I felt a sense of relief wrapping around me. Emily shared her own struggles with self-doubt, and it amazed me to see someone I admired face similar challenges. I was not alone. In sharing our experiences, we both felt encouraged, solidifying the power of community and support within the workplace. Our conversation shifted from fear to strategies on how we could continue to grow. "Next time, I want to prepare even more," I said eagerly. "Maybe I can practice speaking up before meetings to build my comfort. It would help me challenge the voice of doubt more often." Emily grinned. "That's a fantastic idea. You could even find a buddy to help practice. We can encourage each other before meetings." Taking her suggestion to heart ignited a flame of determination inside me. I could see the potential that lay not just within me but in collaborating with others. It reminded me that we were all part of a team, each bringing a unique perspective to the table. As our discussion continued, I felt lighter, and the thoughts that had once weighed heavy began to float away. I realized that this experience wasn't just about standing up for my ideas. It was about embracing my ability to express myself authentically and connecting with others who shared in this journey. Walking away from that conversation, I felt invigorated, ready to embrace whatever lay ahead. I understood now that transformation happens when we turn struggles into learning experiences. Building confidence wasn't a destination. It was a path I would walk continually, fueled by my willingness to face my fears. Returning to my desk, I glanced around the office, noticing the different dynamics among my colleagues. Confidence began to settle in my heart like the warmth of the tea I held, reminding me of the powerful connection I could build. I had set sail on a new adventure filled with challenges, but they would no longer intimidate me. I was ready to embrace growth, not just for myself but for everyone around me. With the lessons I had learned fresh in my mind, I approached my days at the marketing agency with a renewed sense of purpose. Each morning felt like an opportunity to carry forward the confidence I had built. I began to notice the small changes in myself, and they made all the difference. Simple tasks that once felt intimidating now seemed achievable. The first meeting after my presentation was a turning point. As we settled into our normal routine, I felt a wave of nervous energy creeping up again. Old habits whispered doubts like ghosts, But instead of allowing them to silence me, I took a deep breath and remembered my realization. My ideas mattered. When it was my turn to speak, I shared my thoughts on an upcoming project with ease. To my surprise, I found that my voice resonated. My team genuinely listened. After the meeting wrapped up, Josh approached me. "You continue to impress, Mary. I value your insights," he said, his tone sincere. Hearing him say that felt like a warm embrace. It reaffirmed my strength. I was now positioned differently in the team. Instead of casting shadows over my contributions, I felt my light beginning to shine. In the days that followed, I started seeking out opportunities to collaborate and share ideas more freely. I took Emily's advice to heart, practicing with her before meetings. We created an encouraging environment for each other. I found that even the act of discussing ideas helped me articulate my thoughts more confidently. Posting sticky notes of my ideas around my workspace and voicing them aloud became part of my daily routine. During our brainstorming sessions, I noticed I had naturally shifted my approach. Instead of waiting for someone else to validate my ideas, I began proposing them up front. A new sense of clarity ran through my mind as I prepared. Ideas flowed effortlessly, and I spoke with a newfound assurance. I recognized how the act of sharing had evolved from a struggle into an exhilarating challenge, one I looked forward to meeting head-on. Soon, I pitched an idea for an internal marketing campaign focusing on team-building activities. Reflecting on my journey, I felt this was a chance to foster collaboration within our environment, a project I was passionate about. As I outlined my ideas to the group, I felt excitement build within me. Not only did I want to contribute, but I also wanted to create a stronger connection within the team, just as Emily and I had formed our own. Feedback from the team was positive. They jumped on board with enthusiasm and suggestions. I was surprised to find that the room thrived with energy, bubbling with new ideas from everyone. I realized that my journey of self-discovery had opened doors not just for me, but also for my coworkers to share their thoughts freely. Together, we began to transform the once quiet meetings into lively discussions filled with creativity and inspiration. As the weeks went by, the effects of my changed mindset were profound. I noticed that I wasn't solely focused on gaining validation anymore. My confidence became rooted in my passion for the work we were doing. I found joy in crafting meaningful content, which was a huge contrast to the despair I had once felt when my ideas went unnoticed. Moreover, I connected with Mark on a personal level as we began to collaborate. We shared thoughts and refined ideas seamlessly. His respect allowed me to open up further without reservations. We became a team that played off each other's strengths, showcasing the power of collaboration. Through embracing vulnerability, I discovered a sense of freedom. I had turned my challenges into stepping stones that propelled me forward. While I realized the journey would have its ups and downs, I was no longer afraid to face those moments head-on. I felt like a voyager setting sail, ready to explore the tides of creativity with newfound confidence. As I ventured forward, I embraced each day as an opportunity to plunge deeper into collaboration, authenticity, and growth. As the weeks turned into months, I began to realize just how much I had grown since that pivotal presentation day. The office had transformed into a place where I felt not only welcomed, but also empowered to share my ideas freely. The challenge of finding my voice inscribed itself in my journey, igniting a spark that resonated with everything I did. One sunny afternoon, I sat at my desk working on a new campaign proposal. Excitement bubbled within me as I revisited some of my favorite ideas I initially hesitated to share. Emboldened by my past experiences, I threw myself into the work, creating engaging content that was fresh and optimistic. The team spirit felt vibrant, and it was reflected in each brainstorming session. Everyone seemed more energetic, especially now that Mark and I collaborated seamlessly. We had grown to respect one another's ideas, combining our strengths to propel each project forward. We bounced ideas off one another, inspiring creativity and encouraging each other, which felt like a breath of fresh air. With each collaboration, I watched my confidence rise as our projects flourished into successful presentations. The support that hovered in the air began to feel like a safety net, all of us reaching higher than before. During a recent meeting, Josh praised our team's efforts, capturing the essence of our hard work. Great collaboration and innovative ideas. I really see how your teamwork has enhanced our projects. I glanced around the table at smiling faces and felt a flood of gratitude and joy swell within me. I understood that this atmosphere was cultivated not only by our hard work, but also by the willingness to encourage one another, something I had actively chosen to participate in. Beyond work, I began to notice the impact my journey had on my personal life too. I was more assertive with friends and family, voicing my opinions and engaging in discussions with ease. I felt re-energized, unflinchingly confident in expressing myself, no longer letting uncertainty hold me back. This newfound spirit wrapped itself around me like a warm embrace, enhancing my interactions. I realized the changes within me transcended beyond the walls of the office, blooming in various areas of my life. Still, I remained aware that growth wasn't about being perfect. It was about leaning into challenges and continuously learning. There were days when doubt slithered back into my mind, flickering shadows of the past. But now I recognize those feelings as part of my journey. Instead of retreating, I faced them head-on, armed with my experiences and the support of my coworkers. As I engaged in conversations with colleagues, I found myself reminding them of their own potential whenever silence loomed during meetings. I was excited to help spark ideas in others, just as they had done for me. Every time I encouraged someone to share, it reaffirmed my strength and made me feel like a catalyst for positive change. Summer eventually began to wind down, and new projects loomed on the horizon. The buzz around our office reflected ambition and excitement. With every new endeavor approached, I admitted to myself that I didn't have to force growth. It was a journey that elegantly unfolded through the courage to engage. I understood that while my experience taught me to embrace challenges, my newfound belief in my value would carry me through whatever came next. Sitting at my desk one afternoon, I smiled at the tangible progression I had experienced. I was ready for whatever new opportunities awaited me. Every uncertainty now felt like a canvas awaiting vibrant new colors. The commitment to continue navigating my path, both in the workplace and beyond, filled me with hope. Facing obstacles head-on wasn't a destination. It was a continuous journey of growth. Each dawning day brought forth opportunities, and I felt eager to chase them down with the knowledge that I was capable, resilient, and ready to embrace any challenge while reaching new heights.